So I've been playing a lot of Divergent Universe to get a feel of it. I definitely like it, so I want to give an overview of what it is, tips and tricks, and some strategies for approaching and playing the game mode. At this point you should already know what Divergent Universe is if you play the game. However, just in case you don't, here's a quick rundown of what it is before I get into my general guide on clearing Divergent Universe quickly and easily. But be warned, there is a lot of RNG in this new game mode. It's basically a new game mode that's being masked as an expansion to the simulated universe, being a new game mode since it completely wipes simulated universe out of the park. It's a really fun game mode where you have a synchronicity level to level up, and a tree of skills in the form of the inspiration circuit. You can level up skills and they branch out, and all of them are good. They can be base stat upgrades like a 3% speed increase to game-changing things like this, where you get the resonance formations from the old simulated universe. When you play the game, there's essentially two modes. The first is this one, the ordinary extrapolation, and the second one is the cyclical extrapolation. The ordinary extrapolation is similar to simulated universe, but not exactly. Instead, at the start you choose an equation from 3 given ones, and they are probably randomized. There's a lot of RNG here. And then you pick one of 3 things for a bunch of blessings. That's pretty easy to understand. Now, cyclical extrapolation is different. It updates every weekly and is the way you fill up your point rewards, the same as simulated universe, but way easier to do as it takes one run. In cyclical extrapolation, you're also given 3 equations of a specific path from the get-go. In this week it was the hunt, with one being a 3-star, one being a 2-star, and one being a 1-star. You are also given one weighted curio, which is like a curio but really cracked, essentially guiding you to a certain team to play with to easily clear Divergent Universe with. So that's what Simulated Universe really is. So how do you clear it quickly? But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe, as annoying as this may be to hear, so please forgive me. Well, as I said before, it's heavily RNG based. There aren't any clear-cut strats that guarantee an incredibly easy clear like you have for MOC, Pure Fiction or Apocalypse Shadows. Hence, you can clear really quickly or really slowly. However, I will outline some general advice that I can give after playing it a whole bunch. When you play Ordinary Extrapolation, which has a lot of RNG, you want to base your team on the first 2-star equation that you get. So if you get an erudition equation, you go for either Acheron or another similarly erudition based or buffed character, so maybe Jingliu, although I do prefer to use Remembrance with her. Now, since you can change your team based on the equation that you hold, you want to keep track of how many equations you complete and what they are. If you do it like this, you clear the content quickly and or easily. This is pretty straightforward, of course, but it does make one thing clear. You can't just play whoever you want to, unless either your relics are really cracked or you are a Leviathan, especially as the difficulty increases as you increase your threshold protocol level to 6. But when you play Cyclical Extrapolation, it is more straightforward. This is because your first 3 equations are already guaranteed, and you know about them beforehand. Similarly, you know that you will get 5 guaranteed blessings related to the main part of that equation. This week it was Hunt, as I said before, so we got 5 Hunt blessings. So what does this mean for your runs? You essentially know what tomb to run, and this can save you a lot of time, meaning the clears for your runs become way easier. But at the end of the day, you are still dependent on the game's RNG. This is because the equations, blessings, curios, and weighted curios are still as random as Ordinary Extrapolation. It's just that the start of your run is a lot easier. Another important thing to track is your curios and weighted curios. Your weighted curios boost your team's damage and or utility a lot, so you should take the chance to either manipulate your team to match your weighted curio or try to get more weighted curios. The curios work like normal curios in Simulated Universe, just that their effects are a bit different, although their function ends up being the same as their Simulated Universe counterparts. Take this curio as an example. It gives blessings and essentially behaves in the same way, even though technically its passive is different, being related to equations rather than the path chosen. Ultimately, the RNG will be wild and crazy. This means you can either get to play the character you want to with ease, if you get a lot of equations and blessings that favor their playstyle, like break-related and destruction-related equations and blessings for Firefly, or you get nothing and your run dies, like the 3 women that I killed in 1996. The RNG will basically make or break your run, meaning that everything I said before is completely dependent on having either favorable or neutral RNG. If you have bad RNG, just restart. After all, from my experience, the most important thing is to have one complete equation by the first boss. This is because equations are the bulk of your damage and utility in Divergent Universe. This is also really annoying, as constantly restarting is a bit irritating, and I would say this is the biggest drawback to Divergent Universe, which is the amount of RNG that it has. However, one thing that could make up for the bad RNG are the workbenches, both the Curios Synthesis workbench in the Escapade domain and the workbench of creation. These cost cosmic fragments, of course, that is the workbench of creation, and again is heavily dependent on RNG, meaning you never really escape the gacha. However, since you should be stockpiling your cosmic fragments, these domains can still save your run, as by doing a bit of gambling and hoping you have Aventurine's luck, you can get a lot of blessings necessary for your run, or you can get absolutely nothing. Hence, the gameplay itself is not necessarily the hardest, but it is heavily and highly RNG dependent, meaning you can end up restarting or being frustrated a lot, as I mentioned before. A strat I do often is called the Eula strat, where you restart until you get the equation you want. I don't recommend this though, it's just really funny when I make videos on it. Guava Certified mentioned a nice strat where you try to get the Rupert Curios and get the 3-star Rupert Curio from it. That's a good one and makes your runs way easier, but it is again heavily RNG dependent, as this game mode is just RNG at this point, I swear to god. One strat I recommend is to stockpile your cosmic fragments so that you can do one of 3 things with them. Buy lots of blessings, overwrite lots of blessings, overwrite your equations. Another strategy I recommend is, if you have Acheron, to only go into combat domains and to use your skill point and kill everyone. And when you do not have the option of going into a combat domain, go into an occurrence, reward, wealth, escapade, or even a reward domain and just get whatever you get from there. Not everyone has Acheron though. As a result, this strat only applies to people with Acheron. That's all there is to it though. It's not too complex and it's very basic to play and understand. The only thing that will really hold you back is the RNG, and the only thing that's holding me back from ending it all is Firefly. There isn't really a confirmed or direct strategy for Divergent Universe, but the tips and tricks I provided should make your runs easier. Also check out what other people say as well, like their strategies and tricks, as those will probably make your runs way quicker as well. Anyways, leave a like and subscribe, comment your strats to Divergent Universe if you feel like it, and check out my other videos, maybe they're good, like this Firefly guide. God, why the fuck am I still here?